these star symbols you see on the old carvings like this one here. You see on the symbols and the charts with the Anunnaki. And why would they be here in Arizona, southern Utah, right? And then when you look at the whole thing, it's like steps going down or up. And then there's all these symbols. There's this almost like a sand dollar symbol or a star symbol. These lines over here, the wiggle and the bullseye. This looks like a spider. Does not look like the body of a spider. The legs coming down and up kind of. It's hard to tell. But these star symbols, this one here and this one, are very interesting.
I wanted to take a screenshot and pause this for a minute to talk about this because there are some significant similarities to these ancient petroglyphs. These are dated back to about 300 AD to 1000 AD. And notice how some areas look like they have been rubbed off or defaced, and some parts are newer and restored. But look at these star symbols. And the symbol that I was calling like a spider, we're going to get into this. First of all, in several videos before, when I have come to this location, I have compared this star symbol or sun symbol to the sun disk in the Shamash tablet. Now, this is an old Mesopotamian glyph that depicts these Sumerian gods and these solar discs or sun discs that are very similar. And I've always thought this was fascinating because it relates to the myths of the giants. You see how small the people there are on the left, and then how big the deity is on the right. And you have these solar discs or sun discs related to the movement of the sun and the solar system. So when you go back and look at this star pattern, for a long time, for about the last 4 to 5 years, I have wondered if it was related to that. And so I decided to take a closer look at all of these symbols and break it down and try to see what I could recognize. And what I actually found was astonishing. There is the ancient Egyptian god of Khepri. He is the Egyptian god associated with the rising sun and renewal, and is often depicted as a scarab beetle or a man with a scarab head. And notice how this sun symbol with these two baboons on the left or the right is a direct match for the 5-pointed star or sun symbol for an offering to Khepri. And Khepri is the sun god represented as the dung beetle, because what he does is he actually is, in the mythology, he is the force that pushes the sun to rise in the morning to come up from the underworld. So in the same way that a dung beetle pushes a ball of dung around and hatches its larvae out of the eggs and renews itself out of the darkness and out of filth, they saw this as a renewal from the underworld into the rising of the sun. And all of this was overlapping in this ancient mythology. And so this representation of Khepri as being a sun god, or the energy of the sun, and also the gatekeeper to the underworld, was often depicted as this beetle. And I wonder if that figure that I thought was a spider was actually the scarab beetle, and if some of these symbols are representation of the worship of Khepri. And I also find it very fascinating that this whole petroglyph area is in direct correlation with the rising of the sun during the solstices. This entire part of Arizona and southern Utah has to do with that.
And what they're doing here makes no sense at all, unless there's some kind of a psychic connection going on, where everybody all over the world was kind of picking up the same signals.